Hi guys, this is my application to Bridge. I'm just going to give a quick recap of my teaching experience and my travels around the world. I started traveling like at an early age. Really, I think 2011 was like my first job like outside of England. I was teaching construction work. I was doing construction work, working at Schiphol Airport. I was loading the imports and the exports onto the plane. Very hard physical labour work. I think I did that for 16 months living in a foreign country, and I just really fell in love with it. You know, the adrenaline rush and just travelling the world, and that's what kind of. I remember I was working with a friend of mine, and he said, "Oh, if you love travelling, if you don't want to go back to England, you should look into getting into TEFL, which is be able to travel and you'll be able to teach at the same time." And I thought that'd be great for me because I love teaching. I mean, the first teaching experience wasn't English. My first teaching experience was actually teaching kickboxing because kickboxing is my passion. Keeping fit and kickboxing. But as I'm getting older, I realised I'm probably not going to be able to be a fighter or anything. So I taught kickboxing every Tuesday night after college, and I taught that to a small little class, and I just fell in love with just the idea of. I remember leaving each teaching session, and just feeling, this is great. I feel full of energy. Just knowing that you influence other people and inspire other people with your own passion, that makes me, want to get up out of bed. That makes the job so much more fulfilling and so much, rather than just, when you're teaching, you're just like, you do this, you do that. It makes it really engaging, and I love that. I love that feeling when you leave a lesson, any kind of lesson when you teach, if you're teaching fitness, if you're teaching kickboxing, if you're teaching English, French, Spanish and Portuguese, because I also teach Spanish and Portuguese. It just makes me feel really fulfilled at the end of the day. When I leave the lesson, I just feel, this is great. I feel like it gives me extra energy, gives me extra passion, and it just really inspires me. And this gets me up and gets me out of bed and gets me, going and living, knowing that I can influence another person and help their future better. And change the future because the kids, the next generation. So influencing them, and inspiring them, seeing their eyes light up and seeing them inspired. Learning English, learning another language, and knowing that they have the world in front of them. That's what really gives me passion. And just seeing them, it just really fills me up. I fell in love with. I was teaching kickboxing then, but I didn't really know that teaching was my passion. So in 2014, I went back to England, and I didn't like the way England was becoming. It was just all closed off. It was what Manchester was becoming. The options available for me. I thought, am I going to join the army, or am I going to travel the world and teach? And I thought teaching was the best thing because then I can have my own life. And I can do this forever. I could teach English, and I can inspire people, and live a fulfilling life. So I thought I'll go my own way. I'll teach English. I taught. My first job was in Saudi Arabia. I got my TEFL certificate in 2014, and then I got my 120-hour course online. I did that. I didn't have a Wi-Fi in my apartment, so I had to be up from 12 a.m. till 6 a.m. doing it on my computer in McDonald's. I did that. Then I went to work at 6 a.m. But then I finally got my teaching certificate, and I was yes. And then I thought. I got my teaching certificate, and then I went to teach English in Saudi Arabia. That was my first teaching experience job because they said I didn't have any money at the time, so they were going to pay for the flight, they were going to pay for accommodation and everything. They were going to pay. So I thought, that's great. They sorted out the visa process, and I thought that's a great way for me because I love doing anything that's difficult. I see people looked at me and thought, I don't think that's kind of strange. Isn't that kind of dangerous going to Saudi Arabia with all the headings and everything? And I thought, no, that's perfect for me because I love doing anything that's challenging. Anything that's challenging to me, I feel really fulfilled when I come over that challenge. I don't see a problem, I see challenges. And whenever I overcome those challenges, then that's like my life purpose, That's like I've achieved my goal. That's what gives me motivation. And then I went to Saudi Arabia, and I was thrown in the deep end. I learned how to do my teacher's voice because my first teaching experience, I came straight from Manchester, so I'm used to speaking very fast Mancunian accents. I have different accents, by the way. I do Irish accents because I'm part Irish, Scottish accent because my dad's part Scottish, and I lived half my life in USA. I'm in USA now, in Florida, staying with my uncle because I'm looking after him because he had a heart attack. So I spent half my life, half in USA and half in England. So I can do different accents. So yeah, I could do the American accent, which is, "Hey man, how you doing? You from England?" And I do the Irish accent as well. Top of the morning to you, laddie. Good day to you. It's always pretty cold outside. This is it. You wouldn't mind getting frostbite outside, you know. And I go to the Scottish island. "Aye, lassie. How you doing, laddie? Welcome to Scotland." So yeah, I have fun with that. I can do the Australian accent. Some students want to work and live in Australia for a better life, and which I don't I don't blame them. And then, you know, good day, mate. Top of the bar, throw shrimp on the barbie, mate. You know what I mean, mate? Yeah. And so yeah, I have to work on my Australian accent. And then I also do. You see, yeah, I'll get back on track anyway. My Saudi Arabia experience was teaching kindergarten students in the morning. I learned how to. They didn't speak any English at all, so I was thrown in at the deep end, and I had to teach them the alphabet. So pretend the whiteboard's here. Just go A, B, because they don't have the English phonetics. They don't have the alphabet. They have their own alphabet. They have the Arabic language. So I had to do sounds. I spent weeks just doing sounds like A, B, and then I had to slowly go into words like B for boat. I had to do lots of miming. I had to use the Blitz method kind of when it became more progressed, and I did lots of activities, lots of games with the kids, and I love that because I was like, go kick up the bum. Every time I teach kindergarten kids, it's like an alarm clock. It's like a coffee shop. It really wakes me up. And then in the afternoon, I taught B2 level students, which was more almost conversational English. A few of them were really good at conversational because they grew up watching American TV shows. I had to use my British conversation to help them progress. We did. I always have 2 activities during each lesson. I have an intro, a 10-minute intro, ask how they're doing, ask how the day went, and use some miming, like saying, "Did you walk to work, or did you drive, or get the bus or taxi?" And I usually have one activity around about 15 minutes into it. Then I usually have one activity about, if it's the hours, usually the class is usually 1 hour long, so you should have one another activity round about the 50-minute mark, 45-minute mark. And then my second job experience was actually in Slovakia. But I just fell in love with Slovakia. I worked in Saudi Arabia for a year to try and get some money behind me, just in case I might have to buy an apartment to go back to England. And then, so I worked in Saudi Arabia, and that was a great experience, Saudi Arabia. That was tough at first. I remember my first teaching experience, I was really scared. Really, my heart was beating. But yeah, once I got into it, I was at home with it. But yes, I really enjoyed it, just knowing that I can survive. And I'd rather do something difficult, do something easy, because if I do something difficult, then I can prepare for things that are harder, and it makes my confidence much better. So yeah, just knowing that I did the Saudi Arabia was really great experience, and meeting people and learning a different language was great. So yeah, I kind of learned a bit of Arabic as well, but that's kind of gone now because I've learned Spanish and Portuguese has taken over. So yeah, if you need any Spanish or Portuguese speakers, I also do that as well. Then I taught in Slovakia for 1 year. I travelled around to a different village like every single week, mainly based in Košice. That was much more relaxed. I came to the students, and the students were just all quiet and so well behaved and so conservative, and that was a breath of fresh air for me because the Arabic students in Saudi Arabia, sometimes they have a bit of hate towards Westerners. So I had to deal with that, and I had to deal with the rowdiness, like, "Oh, the white guy, what's this like in America?" And they get really excited. But Slovakia was much more relaxed, and I was so at peace. And just going to the villages and the conservative environment, I loved it. And I remember climbing mountains every weekend up to Tatra Mountains. And I just fell in love with that because I'm all about adventure as well. When I'm not teaching and inspiring, I like to spend my time going on adventures. And Košice, the jazz bar. I remember those nights out. Those were great times. And I just fell in love with it. And then I thought, and now I'm getting older, I just realised I was still there. I've done my, but I really wanted to get my job experience so I could go teach and travel around South America. But I've done South America now. I've done my adventures. I've been travelling around Brazil for the past 3 years. I've done South America for 5 years. I taught in Slovakia for 1 year, and then I did Mexico for 1 year, which is, I helped renovate a school. The school was really run down, so I helped renovate and teach as well. And like I had the kindergarten kids in the morning again. Those were a bit more, not like Slovakia, they were a bit more rowdy. You know, I had to deal with the disabilities. Actually, some of the children had disabilities, so I had to deal with that kind of class because I was the experienced teacher there, where the other teachers weren't as experienced. So I did that and I helped them. That was a bit rowdy. I remember they were so full of energy that I had to do activities to help them get their energy out. You know, so I was like, oh, let's do this marching. I had to do the marching activity every morning where we sing a song, and they said they loved that. So one of the managers said, keep doing that, because I really got their energy out. Because they gave me the hard class because they were really they were called the D class. They were known as being a bit rowdy, a bit they had learning difficulties, so they were a bit slower, and they a bit of autism as well. So that was great. That was really challenging, and then it's great to overcome that. Just knowing that I did that, and then by the end of it, I had their respect. They were really, usually some of them would come up to me and hug my leg and stuff like that. So that was great. And to keep them all in order. So, and they have to do the activities to get their energy out. And then I taught in the afternoon. I taught teenagers again. Usually every single place I've been to, I've taught teenagers from ages 10 to 16. They've always been B2 level students. I did some university classes as well. B2, B1 level, B1 level, maybe. But some of them were always really intelligent because they obviously watch a lot of, in Slovakia, they watch, I know Friends is really popular over there. So they watch a lot of Friends, and that's how they learn, and they were really, really good. So I had to focus, deal with them, do the harder activities and challenge them a little bit with some English phrases, some Irish phrases, some slang as well. But then I had to concentrate on the ones that don't, that aren't at that level yet, aren't progressed. So I focused on them and challenged them, and then I went back to the ones that learn good English, and I had to challenge them with some phrases that they might not have heard. And I used the Blitz method. There was lots of miming, like, so how was your weekend? Did you go, because the mountains were usually outside the school, so you say, did you go climbing up the mountains, or did you play football? Did you play, because I know hockey's over there, go hop over there, did you play hockey? Or who's your favourite hockey team? I used to ask that to get, because they were very conservative, very shy at first, so I had to get them to express themselves. That was mainly conversational classes in Slovakia. So I did 1 year in Saudi Arabia, 1 year in Slovakia, 1 year in Mexico, and then I did a short time in the Maldives. But during that time in the Maldives, I got a job. I did, I think it was like 1 year in the Maldives as well, and I finally got a job offer to teach English online. I thought, finally, I can do South America. It's always been my dream to travel around South America. I haven't had the option to do it. So I got a job at teaching online, teaching freelance online as well. And then I got the job. So I went to Argentina. I taught around Argentina and Buenos Aires for 1 year. Then I taught in Brazil for 1 year. All this time I was teaching freelance as well. I meet people in cafes and teach them, just have conversation classes, or just walk around the town and talk English with them. And then they teach, and sometimes they teach me some Spanish, so I can speak Spanish now. I did that in Brazil as well, in Rio de Janeiro. I spent 3 years in Rio de Janeiro. I fell in love with the place, but after a while, it just became too dangerous living. It's a good place to visit, but I just felt really on edge all the time. Like you're nervous and anxiety. It's hard to relax in Rio de Janeiro. After a while, I got my fill, I got my adventure out of it, and as I get more older, I thought, okay, I need a place to relax. I wish I was back in Slovakia. I need a place, because my family's worried about me being in Brazil and getting robbed almost every week in Brazil. So I thought, I need to go back to Europe. I fell in love with Europe and how everything's so safe. and you feel at home there, and yet you're still progressing though. There's still things to do to help you progress. And yeah, so I thought, okay, how am I going to get back to teaching in Slovakia? So my uncle said, "Oh, come stay with me for a bit." So I'm looking after him now because he had a heart attack. So yes, I'm back here. I sometimes teach online, sometimes some Spanish, some Portuguese, a bit of English now, but now they're paying peanuts. So anyways, if you have any questions, I'm here for you anytime at all. I also taught some English. Oh yeah, the English Oxford, because people were preparing for the university as well. So I think it was in Slovakia and in Mexico as well. They had some. A teacher used to come up to me and say, "Oh, we have some university students coming, and they're preparing for an exam. Can you teach them some finance English, some business English?"